Good day, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Welcome to Ashala Yardley's YouTube channel, coming to you live every Tuesday. Myself, Ashala, and my lovely daughter, Crystal, joining me.
Hi, everyone.
Yay.
Welcome. Happy Tuesday.
We've got a new desk today and a new rolling niche ergonomic chair that I'm sitting on, trying to get more comfortable, just spending so much time online, doing sessions on the computer, organizing, setting up and producing classes and so on. So we're really trying to get savvy with our equipment here. So we've got a lovely new desk, and this desk actually goes
up and down.
Yeah, it's an elevating and lowering desk, but we're all like, oh, which chair will fit underneath the desk? And anyway, lovely as always to be with you. And I can see questions coming in before we get started. Crystal, do you want to just remind everybody about your sale and what's happening in the next few weeks?
Yeah, thanks, Mama. Okay, so welcome. It's so lovely to see you all here. A reminder, please like our videos, share our videos, subscribe. Even if you think that nobody's going to watch them, it doesn't hurt to share them. And and do subscribe. And so I do have a sale that is going on until August 15th. And you use farewell code farewell20 to receive 20% off. And you can book as many appointments as you want with that discount. You can book as far into the future as you want with that, as long as you do it by August 15th. So
yay!
Exciting and lovely to connect with you all, and lovely to give you a little discount to do so. So without further ado, thank you for tuning in. Here we are, and let's connect with Suzanne on her first question. You ready to roll, Mama?
Ready.
Okay.
Do we live on a cosmic-like turtle with 13 dimensions? That's so cool, right? Like, so the turtle shell supposedly has 13 segments. And if this is true, does this connect to the 13 lunar cycles? Fascinating. And maybe you want to quickly share with us your little story about your turtle medicine, Crystal, while I shuffle.
Yeah, I mean, I have had turtle medicine. I spoke to a little bit of it last week, and connected with being guided to walk in a certain direction around the lake, and met with a turtle being out sunning itself, which is so my jam and kind of my speed too. And I've always really sort of resonated, particularly stepping more into my womanhood and motherhood and all of that kind of stuff with turtle medicine. And well, Mama had a dream about me being a turtle.
That's right.
When I was in tummy, in utero.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I dreamt about both my children while I was pregnant with them, of course, separately. And Crystal, my first child, I dreamt that she was a turtle in my belly, and I had a zipper down the front, and I just unzipped it. And I took the turtle out, and I was like holding the turtle and caring for the turtle. And then I popped the turtle back in my belly and zipped it up again. And then I had a similar dream many years later when I had my second child, my daughter. And I dreamt that she was a frog. And it's so interesting that they each have that particular, we call it medicine, which really what it means is that their energies resonate with what that animal represents. So what would you say turtle represents, Crystal?
To me, it represents a deep wisdom around time and around a certain level of wisdom around how you intake realities and information, and then how you transmute it and store it. Like, it's quite unique into itself in terms of the rhythms of a lot of beings in life, right? And there's so many interesting stories about, the pace of the turtle and its wisdom to just do it at beat to the rhythm of its own
slow go.
Yeah.
And that it just can, like, it's self-contained, right? It
Yeah.
can just pop its legs and head in and just be like protected. There's something very, almost like I'm getting this sense of, when we're talking with Suzanne is talking about a dimensional reality, that it's like a protected kind of shell that holds the dimensions in time and space, right? And time is a big part of that turtle shell, turtle medicine. And also that it is at home wherever it goes, because its home is literally on its back. So let's have a look.
May I shuffle?
Sure, here you go. Let's have a look. Do we live on a cosmic lake, or in a cosmic lake turtle that has 13 dimensions?
So interesting.
And then we also have the stories about Turtle Island from a lot of the indigenous tribes that call North America Turtle Island. So, how does that relate? Here in North America, there's a lot of celebration about what I want to call our relationship to the land we live on. So in Canada, we have Canada Day, which is going through a whole bunch of whatever it means, whatever the Canada identity actually means, which is a big topic. An illusion, but also a reality on some level. Well, we are part of this Turtle Island energy, and same with the US. And interesting that we both have our celebrations of our relationship to the land we live on this week. So Canada Day is technically today, July 1st, and of course the US Day, 4th of July. So I think this is somehow related to your question, Suzanne. Is it okay, this one, Crystal? Let's see what we have. I wish there was a turtle tarot card. I think that some of the different versions of them have, if you had anything that looked like a shell, it might be that Wheel of Fortune at the bottom. It does kind of look like a dome or a shell of some kind that has all these different segments to it. Let's see what the cards say. And I'll change the screen here so that the cards are beautiful. There we go.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to ask it like a question of this is us, this is the answer, past, present, future. Let's look at that. Oh. So we are coming in as, there is a science. This to me feels like we're really trying to get to the truth, right? We're trying to pare it down to something we can relate to, like a truth or a concept. And I almost get the feeling, because this is the balance, harmony, and reciprocity card, that there's something about that's maybe just a little more than half of what it is, but there's something else that it is. And it's interesting because I think about the top of the turtle shell and then the bottom. So on one side, it is like the dome, people talk about flat earth as being like this dome with all of these dimensional realities in it.
Nice, yeah.
And then what's on the underside, that's kind of what I'm getting, is that there's something else. Oh. Wow.
Oh man, I just think the turtles and the water portals. And every time I see this card now, I'm like, oh, it's a water portal. And I mean,
they come through the water portals.
Man, those turtles, they can just live for so long because they travel in the water portals and travel between timelines down there. I feel like that is happening.
Wow, they travel between.
Because I was thinking the portals, and then the magician showed up, and I was like, oh yeah, man, they are magical beings.
Cool. Well, and we see this with a lot of water creatures, particularly ocean and the
Mhm.
locks, right? Like all these ancient sea creatures that apparently just appear, that have been supposedly extinct, and suddenly they show up on a beach
Right.
or wherever, and people see them in the water, and it's like, are they coming through time portals under the water?
And Suzanne says, fascinating. I see big whales in the high sky, feeling like we live on a giant dimensional turtle in a plasma ocean.
Ooh, wow.
Right? So
Wow.
interesting.
And these, there's something about, like breakthroughs here. We're looking at breakthroughs, which I think is kind of maybe connected with the next couple of questions too. Like,
And I feel like that wisdom about time, and their speed is like, I wonder how much more time and resonance with the balance in our own true selves and our own true nature would happen if we had a 13 moon cycle rather than like the like disillusionment and discomfort compression around the time that we are now in, especially since so much like our world has sped up. The energy is now moving faster, and our 12 moon cycle is not, you know,
interesting.
supportive to us now. So something about there's kind of like a fall down in the structure of our time and our systems.
Yeah, like this card often relates to karma, the justice card, and like karmic justice, right? And so there's something, this question is not just a question for all time, it's a question for this time, meaning that
Nice.
we are looking at, it's going to be very, very relevant, like Crystal said, that we clear the old time, I want to say, dimensional lockdown, because, and we're going to, like we said a couple of weeks ago, we're going to see more interdimensional beings and creatures coming through from different timelines.
Right, when we were talking about the man wolf and stuff like that. Yeah.
And even the dragon energy, and a lot of like, so what we call the mythical beings. And turtle is an interesting one because it technically feels like it is an ancient, it is a prehistoric creature, right? So it comes through a lot of different timelines, and it usually represents carrying the wisdom of that age literally in its shell, in its dimensional shape. So, whew, cool.
So interesting. Let's speak then to finalize. If this King of Swords is in the future, are we really creating new systems around it? Like, is there some sort of structure disruption that's happening? Right? Because if this is the answer to does this connect to the 13 moon cycles, is the Six of Pentacles in the Tower.
Well, he's a scientist, right? And I mean, with these three built together here, I feel like this is also tech, and it's also connected to AI, and like there's something about breaking the time barrier with their speed. I was contemplating this morning. I was like, it's one thing that AI can do all these tasks. It's another thing at the speed in which it recovers all that data and brings it back. And it's like that, in a way, to me, this is all about breaking the old time cycle down, and that we will, hopefully, I'm going to pull a few more cards here. Hopefully this will help us kind of bust out of the time lockdown that we've been in.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's just so much built up stress and power. This is like a pressure cooker.
Yes.
The Emperor and the Nine of Swords. Right? And it's going to, something about what we're changing around our relationship to time is going to liberate us. Oh, got to move this. Hold on. I'll just move this forward a little bit. Hopefully that you'll be able to see that. I'm going to take the question down if that's okay.
Yeah.
You can see the bottom there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There we
Three
go.
of Cups. So look at this, like the old system is trying to hang on to power through time, the density of constraining time, but it's breaking down because this other dimensional frequency is speeding up. And I feel like AI is both going to help us with it and also potentially be a destructive force in it. I mean, the destruction is that it's going to take its own system down. It's going to take its own, like, for example, a lot of people are using AI to cut down how much time they're enslaved to doing these menial tasks, not in the outer world, but in the online world.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it makes the online world like kind of we get to disconnect from it more and have more life and not be so enslaved by the time it takes us to do everything online.
Seems too like there's some medicine around, like how we get through this breakdown is also tithing our time. Right? There's some sort of a medicine with that Six of Pentacles around, like, flipping the narrative of there's never enough time, I don't have enough time for this, like all of that kind of stuff, and being like, I have enough time and time to tithe my time as well, which gets into personal value exchange, and even tithing your time to yourself.
This, like these two, right? Yeah, like Six of Pentacles, reciprocity, service, being really connected in the 3D with our human experience, the stuff that we actually get to do because we're humans. We get to experience life through our senses. We get to have really meaningful relationships and connections with other beings and each other and even within ourselves. So, you know, we get to celebrate what these bodies are capable of and the experiences we can have in them. The experiences of through all our senses, like some of the most beautiful things that we can create with our hands, see and experience with all of our senses. So
it's a funny one though, because so much of our time right now is ruled around money and working and production and, you know, surviving, thriving, whatever it is that you're doing with your money. And the only pentacle we have in the whole thing is one that is about reciprocity.
And sharing and gifting. So somehow, like, this is sort of skidded over into the AI tech stream here, Suzanne. I'm sorry, but somehow this feels like there is through, like it's going so fast that it hits this wall and we break through this constraint with time. And that is connected to the 13 dimensions, the lunar cycles. We get to slow down again and come back into natural time. This is harmony. The sixes are harmony. So harmonic, harmonized, balanced time.
Love it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful question.
Thanks.
Thank you, love. Thank you. Thank you. And I do also encourage everyone that is here. You know, turtle medicine has now come in now, so check it out, look it up, see what turtle animal medicine, and read a couple of them because they do say somewhat different things, but it's really beautiful medicine to step into some of that. All right, so a call to the universe. Welcome. Some remote viewers and woo people can't seem to see past 2027. Okay, could this be due to a split, aka the Rapture / Great Harvest?
And we're talking about timelines again.
Yep.
Wow, eh? It seems to be really up right now.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm going to shuffle one more time here, and then I'll pass them over to you, Crystal.
Okay.
You go ahead and shuffle. 2027.
Some new people can't see past it.
2 more years. So 2027 is a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's the number 11. master number.
That's
11
also a
2.
great split, right? It's
Yeah, 11
a
is
portal to,
is a split.
yeah.
11 2. 2 paths, 2 streams after that.
Mhm.
Interesting that some can't see past it and others can. I definitely can. I have my own prophecies around timelines and time stamps, time markers over this next 100 years. I'm going to be talking with Penny Kelly about that when we come back from the break. I guess we're going to be doing Intuition Fridays early in August. So check that out. And once I've done that discussion with her, I'll post it on here and you can come on over if you missed it. So what do we need to know about why can't we see past 2027? What's happening in that 2027 timeline? Is it a split, a rapture? Okay, so here we are. And what do we need to know about it? Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Exactly what we just talked about. So
Totally.
like increasing divide between the two different versions of reality here on Earth.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Well, this is beautiful. It's a very, very positive, highly activated, high frequency card, the sun.
I really do wonder if we're going to get second sun really showing itself around that time, which really brings in the, yeah.
Wow. So yeah, and look at that, the two paths, right? The world dancer is holding 2 staffs or 2 wands.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a sense of we're going to go through some kind of a gateway. Maybe by the 10th month of 2027. Okay, so it's like a birth is what I'm getting, because look at this. You see how it's like this, like Crystal was saying, the sun is born. There's something reborn.
Mm-hmm.
It's already in process. It's kind of like if it was a birth, this is already happening. And then there's a very, very big contraction at that point, but then it's not quite finished. So I don't get that that's the final rapture split. If that was the final rapture, we'd have something like the judgment card would have been there, right? Or the death card or something like that. 10 of Cups or something would have been there.
Seems more like something like what happened in 2012 or something like that. Like there's another great split in our consciousness reality, like our ability to perceive the other realms in a different way. So because that was a great shift, no two ways about it, right? And so wondering if 2027, yeah.
Right, it's not, so we're not all the way done.
No.
Will you pass me, there's a piece of white paper there with lines on it.
Yes.
That is my,
of course,
timeline predictions that I channeled in a reading in 2021. I'm not going to tell you all of them right now. You don't get it all at once, but I am just going to look and see if there is anything right. So it looked like there was an activation that began in 2012, and then it was accelerating exponentially every 22 years. So the next big acceleration was 2034, according to that prediction at that time. So is it the case that we are like we've gone faster? So instead of 2034, we're at 2027 that we're having this? Let's have a look. I'll ask that. Oh,
there it is.
There's the judgment. Okay. So, right. It's happening in stages. Look at this. Look at this. Do you see judgment? So it is in a way, you could say it's part of the rapture, but it's only one part. So there will be, like I said, the feeling of contraction in birth, like this is one of them, but it's not the final one, if that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, love it. 6 of Cups. So having this beautiful sun in the past and the 6 of Cups, which is a really lovely, like the inner child. I do feel like there's a lot of really phenomenal humans coming in. I talk about the beta babies.
Yes, with this birthing here as well. There's
Mhm.
there is sun children that are coming in.
Ooh,
Yeah.
sun children.
Yeah.
And it'll be, those beta babies will be coming in for about 6 years, and they start coming in 2026. So there could be a really big rush or wave of them, or just with the frequency that they bring in with them, that will shift things. And we really need to be ready to help guide them. And what I've been shown about these beta children is that the deep state, the controllers, they want to turn them into the, they're going to be like transhumanist, AI fixated, all about tech. And they talk about, if you look up the beta generation, that's what's being spun. That's what's being spellcast hugely on mainstream media. So I want to bring the alternative perspective of that, which I've been shown in my own divination and doing readings for people in the last couple of years. These beta children are actually going to be, well, they will be split. There will be some of them that will go that way.
Yeah.
And there will be others that will be the revival or the Renaissance children that want to go back to all things from the past, like classical art and music. They will be very much not interested in tech. They're going to be low tech or no tech. That's their form of rebellion. They're very much going to be like the hippies of the 60s. They want to go back to the land, have a very intelligent, these children, and very curious. So very different from these last 2 or 3 generations, Generation Z, the alphas. These kids are going to be so curious, highly motivated, highly intellectual, and they're going to love their boomer grandparents and great grandparents. They're going to be just like sponging off of our wisdom and knowledge. So prepare for that, everybody.
This feels a little bit fuzzy. I'm just
Prepare
gonna
for that.
Don't mind us.
Anyway, there's my rant for today. One of them.
Love it.
But the rant about the beta children, because it does feel like when we were looking at that timeline at 2027, that's one of the major events, is that these children will be coming in.
Beautiful. Okay. So we kind of deduced sort of what this question was about. Mom, you had something to say to it, possibly. I see a card reading as a high frequency from the Akashic records that you can see. What do the cards say on this? So,
so what I'm hearing you ask, Leo, is, are card readings high frequency, number 1, and are they connected to the Akashic records, number 2? So I'm going to get you to shuffle while I speak. So just like cards and divination, what I say divination, it is basically having communication with the divine, which would be what I would term as creator, source, the, exalted consciousness. And they are a tool for us to be able to tap into our innate wisdom, our innate intuition, and our direct connection to that source. This tool is only going to be as effective as the person wielding it. So if you've got someone that is into dark magic, into a lot of polarity, a lot of power dynamics, drama, and they want to use cards to, basically control outcomes and manipulate reality and dominate people, then absolutely no way is this a high frequency that's tuning into the Akashic records. So it's very much just like any other tool, it's going to be, it's going to be in whose hands it's in is what's going to indicate the frequency, number one, and what you can access, number two. So a reader that already has some direct connection to the Akashic records can totally use the tarot or any other divination tool, oracle cards, dowsing, pendulums, scrying, you name it. They can use that to access information from the Akashic records. It's not the tool itself that's giving them that ability. They already possess that ability. The tool is something they can use to make the communication more clear for themselves to interpret. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's just have a look and
Need
see.
To split it. I didn't split it.
Okay.
Yes.
And we'll have a look and see what the cards want to say in addition to what I've already spoken about. Wow. Yeah, so what I love about all of these tools is that they are very, very helpful. When times are good, they're useful and helpful, but we can probably do all of this without them. What is really great, like for example, I was going through some health stuff yesterday, and when I'm in a distressed state, I have a hard time accessing my own intuition, my own relationship to source. I'm confused, I'm distressed, I'm altered somehow. And so then I will turn to my tools that help me reconnect because I've worked with them a long time. So it's like having sort of like a strong grounding cord connector. And then I will use my pendulum or I will use my cards to access specific answers to questions. I know what kind of questions to ask and what not to ask. I know what do I need to know right now. And is that directly connecting me to the Akashic records, which is basically the repository of information about all that has ever happened or will happen through timelines.
Seems to me I keep getting the image of like a picture book, like they're kind of like the pictures in the story. The pictures don't change the story necessarily, and the information is already coming through the channel, but the pictures allow you to share that with yourself and with others in a way that is like common knowledge, like a bridge between, right? So it's like you're going to get sometimes more out of the story if you have the pictures that kind of go along with it. And it's just that way that we can just have that bit extra, particularly when we're communicating the story with other people.
Yeah, so how I interpret this is that they're very helpful when it feels like a lot of what we normally rely on for our decision making and our integration of information is compromised. So it's sort of like, you could almost see this as like the cell towers or the radio towers, where if they're funky, we have, like, we don't need, like this is another thing, we don't need the actual card to exchange and receive the insights. Just like, this whole thing with tech and our dependency on our devices and, connecting information and data and being able to reach out and contact each other and share information. Realistically, we can do that without any apparatus, with no tech, no cards, nothing. We can just go directly there and share it. So there is something, with cards and intuition. This is something I often say to people. You're not training yourself to become dependent on the tools. You're training yourself to become independent of the tools. So to utilize them in such a way that you already have such a strong connection because you're regularly communicating with source, and then eventually you don't need them. However, as I said, they're extremely helpful when you're not operating at your best. That's when they're really, really great.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Alrighty. Janice. Hello. Okay, are the animals having ascension symptoms? All pets are acting a bit off.
Ooh, wow.
Question.
I channeled quite a few pets this week in my sessions, more than usual. I had some really interesting pet stories that came through and deceased pets that were giving information. Here
I think I'll let you rock it.
Okay.
Yeah. Miss Pet Channel.
Right now.
Yeah.
This week it's been up.
Yeah. Something in me says you just tune in with all of the pets.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here's us. Okay. Ooh. Ascension symptoms. Huh. Very interesting. Okay, 2 5s. 2 5s. So a shift, some growth, some chaos, and yeah. So interestingly, one of the pets that came through this week was a cat, and this cat was deceased for a couple of years, and I really got the feeling that the cat had joined a kind of stream, you could even say an Akashic stream of feline energy that was constellating around Egypt, which is so interesting. We got the pyramids there, and we know that Egypt is a place where cats were venerated, and there was a lot of care to hold space for that consciousness stream and the wisdom that cats bring in. So it's kind of like there's a feeling that as Earth is heightened at the moment and we're going through so much growth, it's like the pets are, maybe it's not just ascension, but they're being given different what's the word I want to look like, kind of different missions or different jobs. So they are like kind of doing species soul stream kind of missions, as well as, so it's almost like they're off doing work, dimensional work, while they're sleeping, and then they're back trying to support us, comfort us with our ascension symptoms.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like they're maybe a little bit like that 2 5s, right? They are being, more is being asked of them. They're being sort of asked to be teachers and healers at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and they've always been that. A lot of pets have always been that, but more and more, there's a distinction there. yeah, a lot of working on healing as
Healing.
well, particularly our emotional bodies.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to be very sensitive to our feelings, even the ones we don't know we're feeling yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Are they ever, hey? I mean, I really miss having a cat for that reason.
Yeah.
We've been through, some of the cats that we've been with have been equally as healing to us as we are, in support of them, kind of thing. And it's just been, it's quite a special connection.
And the dogs too.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
I mean, what were we talking about there though a couple of days ago? The dogs are.
Oh, this was what came through the session, was
right.
that the cats were, this cat in particular was explaining that the cats really come in to work with us in the dimension of our spiritual growth. Not that dogs don't do that, but it's kind of like a feline specialty, and the canine specialty is a lot more with our hearts and our emotions. Of course, they cross in and out of those specializations, but I do feel like they have species, almost like species gatherings interdimensionally, where they're all doing some kind of special work right now, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, beautiful. Go ahead and continue on there, Mom. I'm just having a look here to see what comments are coming in.
Let's see how we can support them.
So Tarot by Isabella said this month the animals will display weird behaviors. Me and a wonderful dog solo didn't eat.
Yeah, this is a lot of processing grief. And also, I get a little bit of a feeling that they feel, pets love routine, they love structure, they love the boundaries. And when we're off, just like children, the children test you when your boundaries are off and you're not noticing how far off you've skidded out of your own routines. So there's a lot about them pulling us back into routine because they need to feel safe. And we're kind of a little bit flaily right now, is what I'm hearing.
Fair that, especially emotionally, right? Yeah, with all that's going on for such good reason. Yeah, beautiful question. Can you blame them? Not really. Next. When will there be some financial relief for people? It is likely in the next month or two. Thank you. Or is it likely in the next month or two?
Oh, I was just lamenting about this morning.
Lamenting. Can it be? Let's do it.
I would love to see the answer to this, actually. Thank you for your question. It all comes back down to that's okay. It all comes back down to, the brass tacks, right? Yeah. Financial relief. And what does that look like?
What does it look like? Will we see it? And what does it look like? Is it in the next month or two? What do we feel like we're pulling on this, Mom?
I think we do, like the focused answer spread.
Okay.
Yeah. Us. What do we need to know about financial relief in the next 2 or 3 months?
Yeah.
And where are we at with this?
Where are we at with this?
I was really getting lucky there was luck around finances in my forecast for the next 3 weeks. So we'll see. So here's us.
Juggling.
Yeah, juggling. And also some are up and some are down. It's not across the board that everybody's struggling. Some people are kind of riding high on some of these waves. Wow. Okay. So just to mention about the Fool card, when it shows up in a spread, it's sort of like it's like take your hands off the wheel, meaning, there's a bit of trust, there's a bit of faith. If it's well aspected, it means, we're not meant to exactly know. Sorry. This is the answer to the question. And whenever the Fool comes up it majorly as an answer, it's like, take your hands off the wheel and trust.
It's so funny when we're really wanting to know the answer sometimes and we pull the Fool on it. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
We just wait and find out.
So, this really to me feels also like there's something about the gathering of the energy of, we've all gone to a place like, what is different about these financial times compared to earlier struggling times of poverty or loss or economic hardship in different countries and times in history, is that if there was challenge in one area, somewhere else was likely doing better. Like there was, historically, we sort of have these flourishes in different areas while one area is down, another one is up. That's what I was kind of talking about. But we are coming to a place where it's leveling. There's an equalizing energy happening where it doesn't matter where you look. There's no safe place. There's no perfect place. There's no ideal economic. So that in a way is good because it's causing us all to like look up, look at these dogs. They're like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's come up to, oh yeah.
Ooh.
So incentives, rewards, gifts, absolutely, there is help from the universe if you know where to look for it, if you're ready to receive it. And it might start small, right? So look at this. This is 1 pentacle. Meanwhile, this guy is looking at 7 pentacles that are planted but haven't started to grow yet. So there will be some reprieve. I want to say even in the next week or two, certainly in the next month or 5 weeks. But we're still going through these transitions. So it's not like all the reprieve that you're hoping for, but it is somewhat better than it has been. This moon in the past indicates that the scariest time is behind us.
Yeah.
This is a rebuilding time financially. Yeah. And I really feel like it's a lot for us to kind of regroup and decide what we're going to do with these finances, and even I talked to a lot of people a couple of years ago that were, developing the humanitarian projects. Going back and looking at some of that stuff, you may not have the same goals. You might, we're evolving so quickly now. So it's important to go back and regroup with your vision, your mission, your goals, your ideology, and continue to look at this, 2 2s. So to me, there's something about over the next 2 years, we're going to see more and more ways through, and the worst is behind us, is kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah, I feel like there's really there's like this bit of a waiting period right now where we're really learning a lot about like how we're going to be structuring the dispersion of the gifts that we receive. So there's something coming in here, and he's kind of standing over that 1 pentacle thinking, what is the best use of this to really add to the fullness of like the seeds that I've planted, as Mom was saying, right? And it's instead of, allow our minds some time to rest and energetically open ourselves to the feeling of the future. The like, what am I magnetizing, instead of trying to like think so much about what we're doing with these gifts that are going to be coming in. How are we magnetizing? It's not just going to be one, it's the growth of all of this, right? All of the different investments of your time. And so really energetically opening ourselves to, what does it feel like to be in the resonance of expansion into like wealth and the betterment of ourselves financially, the collective financially. You know,
this feels like a seed that we're
Yeah.
being given, the seeds to grow the future that we want to see, and you've got to plant them into something that's going to have lasting value, right? So and not just, as Crystal said, not just ideas, but real material things.
Yeah, the universe says a change in human consciousness needs to happen before we receive abundance. Otherwise, it could corrupt us.
Yep, I've said that for ages. If everybody if everyone got money deposited in their accounts, we'd have a bit of a gong show. You know, we need it to come in. And I've often said, look for the money, because when people were asking me about the RV and stuff 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, even, I was saying money is being put in places for us to go find. So things like grants, subsidies, like pensions, there's money, more money if you take the time to go looking for it. And that was my perspective. I said, if I were in charge to give out money en masse to people, I would actually say, okay, I'm going to give money to projects. I'm going to give
your project,
just like asking for a grant for something. I would put the money available for people to do these projects, but they would have to actually apply. They couldn't just get a bunch of money and then hope that they're going to do good things with it, right? Wow, you remember the Gong Show? Okay, Ricky. Yeah, you're right. I aged myself with that comment. Anyway, it was funny, wasn't it? Okay.
Yes, and Andy says, as we grow ourselves, the world consciousness increases, and there can be no other future but a positive one.
Beautiful.
Amen to that.
You have time for one more?
Yes.
Quick one?
Suzanne had another one as well. Susie Down says, I'm still on the cat chat, LOL. Mine are driving me nuts. One yells at me all day. One wants to sleep on my face. One dives from the chair onto me. The other two watch. Should we pull a couple cards on Susie's cats? What are we doing?
Well,
I know that's not a question.
So, what I'm hearing is there's two things that I'm hearing with what you've shared. One is that they're trying to really wake you up or get your attention or connect with you in a meaningful way. And the other is that, they are needing you to create boundaries.
Yeah.
So there's two things happening, right? It's like,
nice.
Yeah. But let's just see how we'll go back into the feline and canine question for a minute. Yeah, it's almost like I'm getting a feeling that if they were to go to their meetings, their species group gatherings, it would be like, okay, felines, this is your week. If they're failing at ascending, if they're spending too much time scrolling on their phone, if they're like distracted from their own purpose, if they're
in victim,
if they're just get crazy with them, just don't let them have a moment's peace. It's almost like that's what I'm here. It's sort of like they're showing us where we are out, like abandoning ourselves. So they're waking us up to something, because I'm getting that they've had a directive coming from whatever species source they're from that says, put on the gas, folks, put on the gas, um, because they're trying to bump us through a timeline lift here. And that's going to be better on the other side. So they're trying to upgrade us, is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Sorry, Susie. I guess you got to look around and go, okay, where am I like not quite evolving? Because look at this, it's just from the 5 to the 6. It's not a big upgrade, right? We got the 5 pentacles on one side, the 6 on the other. They're just trying to get us through this little upgrade.
So Susie says, I wonder if I'm sick and they're trying to tell me. It doesn't look like that.
I think they're trying to tell you that you're acting like somehow not the full version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to lift you into a higher frequency. So just noticing when they're really freaking out, what are you doing? You know, it sounds like you're sitting. So maybe they're saying, get up and move more. Don't sit in front of the computer so much.
Yeah, it seems also like there's so much possibility for community and connection and celebration out there, and like different sort of realities. So to go out and to find that by again volunteering some of your time, there may be just like, if you're going to be here, I'm going to smother you.
Mhm.
You know, get out of here. We need some space to be crazy cats without you around. Who trying to hide from them or just leave? Yeah.
I just wanted to put up Ricky's comment there about
Yep.
the economy too. If millions of dollars were to be infused into the economy, the criminal cabal would just use the money to rebuild the criminal infrastructure. Well, again, you know, the criminal cabal that lives in every one of us, right? We all have, and this kind of ties into Susie's question, we all have like parts of us that still, like when we are traumatized by an oppressor, a part of us takes on that identity. Like we integrate a small portion of that, hopefully not too much of it, but we need to clear that out of our own system. And it often is unconscious. It's the unconscious way that we treat ourselves like the oppressor treats us. So look, and then same with money, right? Like you could have all the good intentions, but you get the money and you end up like wasting it or indulging yourself. Oh, well, I'll just do this after. I'm going to do this for whatever. Like there's so many ways that we talk ourselves into and out of things. So where
Truly.
if we had to use our forethought to even access the money, right? And there was a degree of accountability. I'm not talking about micromanaging everything we do in a bureaucratic way, but I'm saying like, yeah, just giving it out is, they say, right, with people who win the lottery, that they end up doing more of the same. So if they're doing well and they have a successful business and they are, doing good things in their community, they do more of that. If they're not doing well, somehow they manage to take all that money and turn it into more not doing well. And same with people who go through great crises, like if they have an accident and they end up with a disability, they will often have similar ways of coping with their challenges after their accident as they did before. So we want to become, just like with the animals here, we want to become the best version of ourselves. And it's almost like we may know when we've arrived there because the money will start to come towards us at that point. So that's an interesting thought to leave off on. I think we'll
fine.
wrap
We'll
up
leave
for
off
today.
on that. But
Yeah.
Suzanne says part of what I'm hoping to do is a local community of learning, living, and producing, using gains to start new communities from those mentored.
Beautiful. And
yes.
my vision for the next year or two is that I want to start doing some online community forums where we have discussion groups.
Yes.
And we do things like sharing a lot of our vision and ideas, into the community pot, right? Into the like, if you do this, Suzanne, and you've come up with some ingenious plans or strategies, many of us can adopt those. And you'd be amazed at how much wisdom and incredible ingenuity is in our community. So I feel like getting together and having these conversations where we share, we have topics and we just share information, share strategies, visions, and so on. What a fantastic way to begin to build new earth. So look forward to that coming up here in the near future. Until then,
Blessings,
next
everyone.
week, blessings, everybody. You saw that I had my last forecast with Beyond Mystic before the break on Saturdays. So if you haven't gone to check that out, you can go over and I'll put a link below to that. Not doing any more forecasts until I guess it's the 19th of my weekly forecast back on Beyond Mystic, but we can always pull a few cards here on the Tuesday show next week and the week after, just to kind of bring us up to speed of what's going on. So bring your questions. It's been awesome to share with you.
Yes.
Last minute reminder about your sale, Crystal.
Last minute reminder about my sale, and I will also post. I'll probably have a solo live coming up middle of this month as well to catch. So
cool.
Stay tuned, everyone, and we will put a link to be able to book for the sale below, and a link to Mama's forecast. And thank you so much for being here every week with us. Such an honor to have you and connect. Have a beautiful week, everyone. See you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye.